Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Virgo energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because life's about learning lessons, and some people, and Virgo's about learning lessons in life, and some people have learned some more lessons than some other people, so they're going to be handling this energy differently. You know, we're either still making decisions more out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and lust and greed and self-centeredness, or we've kind of learned how to work together with others and maybe have a more hopeful, believing spirit in love. So anyway, we're going to read this story and then we're going to ask at the end what might be a possible outcome for people depending on if they harness a more high vibrational Virgo energy or a more worldly, shadowy. That's too big a group. So Virgo is earth sign energy, and it's in our Virgo energy we can either be more aligned with ourself, the world, our ego, our more immature, indulgent nature, or we have learned these lessons in life, or we're still willing to learn lessons in life, get out of our pride and ego and admit we don't know everything, and that maybe just making our life about all those things of the world that we indulge in, or to make us feel happy, or money or materialism or status or image or self-indulgence really isn't getting us what we thought we wanted, or isn't as emotionally fulfilling as we thought. And then we do this inner work to free ourselves, to kind of grow and mature ourselves, and wanting to be more balanced within ourselves, more stable within ourselves, to be in more just and fair and stable and balanced and loving workplaces, friendships, and relationships. Okay, so kind of interesting. At the end, we have 5 cards not showing itself, and the reason it came out is because of high honor. So the high honor card reminds me of Leo energy, of the 6 of Wands. Some people are going to move forward more out of ego or defensiveness or maybe lack mentality, or, you know, we all have our philosophy of life, how we view ourselves, how we view the world, what we think is more important, less important. And the poverty card is like the 5 of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy, which is about our philosophy of life. People are going to take action in their life, to move forward in their life based on their truth, based on their philosophy of life. And if their ego is more important, indulgence is more important, money or materialism or status or image is more important, that's going to be what drives and motivates them. And they're going to probably keep taking action towards those things because they are sure those are the things that will make them happy. Other people have probably done this work within themselves to free themselves from harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way, to be more inspired in their fire sign energy, that I'm inspired to quit letting these things manipulate me. And then in high vibe, the 5 of Pentacles talks about, I am willing to detach from this old foundation and way of viewing life and living life, and I'm going to take the lessons that I've learned, incorporate those into my philosophy of life based on the things that I've learned, and I'm going to move forward in life differently. We're either being inspired to face our fears, to move forward in life differently based on the lessons we've learned, or we're going to keep moving forward kind of more in our ego, and we're going to repeat an old pattern. And we might do that because we like to stay in our comfort zone, or we're just happy living our life the way we live it. Okay? So what's going on in Virgo energy? We have the main female, marriage and adjudication. And the reason that came out is because of the Great Fortune card, which I view as Virgo energy, which again can talk about the foundation we operate from. Are we more about emotionally more aligned with ourself and the world? Is that our judgment? Or emotionally, high vibe Virgo is about being more balanced within yourself, yes, I do have my worldly nature and I do have these things of the world emotionally. The feminine figures can talk about how we think and how we feel. There are those things of the world that I am driven and motivated by, but out of love for myself and wanting to get like justice, I maintain balance within myself, holding myself and other people accountable. That there has to be balance because it's in the energy of balance that we move forward victoriously and successfully, because otherwise we're kind of driving our life off into the ditch and we're kind of tipped out of balance, indulging poor behavior in ourselves and others. So people can be tipped out of balance in being too loving and nurturing, and they indulge poor behavior in other people, and they have some lessons to learn. And the adjudication card kind of talks about there will be consequences for our actions, and if we have not learned to be more balanced within ourselves, love is supposed to be just and fair. We're supposed to treat other people the way we like to be treated, and sometimes really loving people, you know, like to be very loving, think everybody else is motivated by love and justice and fairness, and they kind of indulge people in their poor behavior. And those people are going to move forward with that philosophy of life. And the whole thing is offering people truth and love and being supportive and encouraging and just and fair is a good environment to provide with people. But unless those people make that decision that that also is their truth, then one person is being like just and fair and loving and encouraging, and the other person's just kind of indulging in the relationship, you know, for as long as it works out. Until eventually the loving people are like, you know what, I want to be in relationships with people who choose, in their high vibe Virgo energy, to temper their more worldly egoic nature or defensive nature or immature, bossy, controlling, stubborn, whatever nature, to be loving. But until the loving people learn to require justice and fairness and stand up for themselves, they're going to indulge people in their poor behavior. So some people are doing that. Some people have learned that lesson. Nope, the people in my life who weren't willing to hold themselves accountable, to learn lessons in life, because emotionally they're still kind of tipped out of balance and more about themselves or the world, then what they're driven and motivated by is different than what I'm driven and motivated by. And I'm calling judgment, and they can go find someone else to move forward with in a relationship. And people who are more about themselves in the world could be calling judgment on the more loving people who want them to be more just and fair and balanced. Like, you can go. I'll go get in a relationship with someone else. We all like to hang out with people that kind of view life the same way we do, right? And like to do the same things we like to do and find the same things, what we want to invest our time, energy, and effort into, and what we think is important. And if some people are more about themselves or money or indulgence or ego, they kind of want to hang out with other people who are like that. So maybe let's go through this first from the viewpoint of some high vibe balance people. Some high vibe balance people have done this work because Virgo energy talks about doing that inner work to get balance within yourself, to love yourself, hold yourself and other people accountable. And then we have Aries energy, which, like Leo energy, is fire sign energy. They are inspired to give birth to something new, is what the stork is about. Why? Because they've kind of been in their more immature, caught up in the world type of things, dealt with other people who were in that same energy to some degree of their own. And they don't want to. I kind of view the playmate as like Knight of Wands, Sagittarius energy. We've all been more motivated and inspired by the world. We all have operated from our pride and ego. We all could have had lack mentality. You know, we have all these lessons to learn in life. And that's what Sagittarius energy is about. In high vibe, it's about higher learning and education. And some people are motivated and inspired to learn lessons in life. I live my life at a phase of life, and then there's a time where I got to call judgment on living my life like that. I was 15, I was 18, I was 21, I was 25, 35, 45, 55. But life's about learning these lessons. I don't want to keep moving forward the same way I've always been moving forward. It'd be like someone perpetually viewing life like they did as a 15-year-old all their life, or a 21-year-old, or a 25-year-old. Some people are inspired. So far we have Aries and all three of the fire sign energies. And then we have this short illness and red hair, and the red hair in tarot can kind of mean operating more from your ego. And then we have the Scythe card, or the Scythe card, which is kind of like the death card in tarot. And this one says Libra, but it's also Scorpio energy and tarot. We had a way of viewing life, and Libra talks about what we thought was just and fair. But we previously maybe weren't willing to take more bold, brave, creative, inspired action in our life. And the snake can talk about all these things that manipulate us, right? And so we go live our life at all these different phases of life that we go through because we have these lessons to learn. The truth sets us free. When we see the truth, this person with the red hair is holding the sword of truth. And Leo energy's fire sign energy. I view this like the Six of Wands, which leaves behind the Five of Wands, which is the competition, and our more egoic, inner conflict, competitive, and that's kind of our more worldly nature. In our ego, in our fear, in our competitive energy, a little bit more about ourselves, a little bit more about the world. And we go through these phases of life to learn these lessons that, was it just and fair to live our life at a certain stage of life? Yeah, because that's where we were at. We wouldn't have been doing it if we didn't think it was going to turn out the way we wanted, right? But we have lessons to learn, and if we keep not kind of putting an end to our more emotionally immature, egoic nature, because this looks like a young female figure, and again, the feminine figures can represent how we think and feel, and got the apple there. There's a lot of things in the world that tempt us. We can just be looking to get in relationships, to feel like we're moving forward in life, to feel victorious and successful, to indulge in a relationship, thinking it'll make us happy. We go get jobs. We go do all these things in the world. And we could live our life at a phase of life. But then it's kind of like our fiery energy is telling us that it's time to move forward in life, that if we keep living our life the way we've been living it, the death card can talk about, like, there's nothing new to learn there. We have been there, we have done that. I mean, that's why people instinctually kind of, when they're 15 and they're 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, they know that other people in the world move forward in life and that they're inspired to overcome their fears and insecurities and face their fears to take on more responsibilities in life, like getting a job and learning how to drive and moving out from home, right? And kind of when we're young, we might not really want to do that, but it can kind of be peer pressure because other people are kind of doing those things. So, we don't want to look immature. And so even though we might not want to, we kind of put an end to our more immature nature. And we had to overcome our fears and insecurities. And we had to take some of that action in our life too, right? But there's some people who really don't like change, because the death card talks about kind of transforming your life. You emotionally detach from an old way of living your life to put an end to the things that manipulate you and keep you in your fear and your insecurity and your more self-indulgent or codependent, whatever, immature nature. And you face your fears and you get out of your inner conflict to move forward more bold and brave and confident. And then, the more practice we have at doing that, just like when you think back to when you were young and you got your first job. Well, that was scary. And then it was really scary to leave that job to maybe go get a different job because we'd never had another job, But the more jobs you have in your life, the less scary it is, And then the more we stay in our own social group or stay in a romantic relationship, we don't have maybe as much experience in that of finding new friends, being more independent, finding a new relationship, getting to know other people. Again, we kind of, just like with a job, we have to work through the things that manipulate us and our fears and our insecurities. Because with the soulmate, looking back to the past, we all kind of like to stay in our comfort zone because then we don't have to be more bold and brave and confident. We don't have to emotionally detach from an old way of being or a way of living our life. We don't have to work through these things that kind of manipulate us. And that's what some people are doing in their life. It's like they try to move forward in life, different friendships, different jobs, different romantic relationships, but they really could have a lot of fear of change. They could be kind of immature or, maybe being more authentically themselves. And that is a process of just being more comfortable in your own skin to live your more authentic life. And, we could be more caught up in the world and, well, what would people say? And what would my family say? What would my friends say? Or, I'd have to be more bold and brave and confident to detach from these people, maybe to go to college or to go get a new job or move to a different town. And, what would people think? Or just to live my more authentic life. And the whole thing is, sometimes we don't really know what our truth is. So the snake card, it has Scorpio, 2 cards of Scorpio energy. Scorpio and Taurus and Leo are all fixed sign energies. They're kind of the emotional, fiery, and way of viewing life that we kind of tap into when we are in the midst of something. And then it's kind of hard to transition out of it. And we kind of really like the way we have lived life, to be able to kind of keep living life that way. Maybe just find a new friend who wants to live life that way. Or say we had a job and things were changing and people are like, oh, that's scary. I'm going to try to go find a job where they kind of do things the way that we used to do it. I mean, can you imagine like back in the day when computers first came out? If somebody worked at a business where people were going to start doing computers, like, oh no, I find that too confusing and I'm going to go try to find a job where they don't do computers yet. Well, kind of the same thing happens in relationships. If people get in relationships with people who are kind of more inspired to keep growing and healing and maturing themselves, stepping out of their comfort zone. And there's other people that are like, I don't really like to step out of my comfort zone. This is how I like to do relationships. And shadowy Scorpio can be not willing to explore the mysteries of life, maybe not willing to be more authentically themselves, bold or brave, step out of their comfort zone, be more independent. I kind of might like to make my life more just doing this. Or I could be shadowy Scorpio. It can be that I am not very connected in with my emotions and my intuition, and I have the free will choice. I could find it confusing. Scorpio does talk about exploring the mysteries of life, but it's water sign energy emotionally. And it could be having to be more authentically yourself and learn to love and believe in yourself so that you can free yourself again from things that manipulate you to live your more authentic life. And some people have no interest in ever doing that. I don't want to be more bold and brave and confident. I don't want to live my more authentic life. I might like to live from my more emotionally worldly egoic nature, make my life more about the world. Maybe it might end up being a little more superficial and shallow, kind of like I hide my authentic nature and like my potential of what I could become, because Virgo is represented by the Knight of Pentacles, and we're either investing more in ourselves and the world, and we think that will make us look like victorious and successful in the world, and that could be what we value, or we kind of want more of a balance in life. You know, we all want stability and security. We'd all like some of the finer things in life. But some people aren't willing to put an end. I also kind of view the Seven of Swords as Aquarius energy, the Seven of Swords. And this dream. What is our dream? Is it more about ourselves in the world and looking like a shining star in the world? When did we give up our dreams of being more authentically ourselves, of facing our fears, being more independent, not letting so many things manipulate us within us, our fear, our ego, other people in our life, our friends, our family, the world? When did I put an end in the death card to believing in my dreams? When did I kind of eat the poison apple? And I decided to indulge being more emotionally aligned with and invested and making these things of the world, what I wear, what I look like, how much money I have, who I know, who I'm dating, what kind of job I have, instead of listening to my more creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature to get in friendships, jobs, and relationships with people who encourage me to love and believe in myself and grow to my full potential. And when did I stop doing that with myself? When did I kind of give in to, let's not take bold, brave, confident action to believe in our dreams. Let's keep repeating this old pattern. Let's keep making our life more about these things or more about me. Conforming to the world. And if you get kind of in a more mismatched relationship, and you can be in friendships and relationships with people for a long time, until you do kind of see the truth that some people are kind of more motivated by ego, fear, defensiveness, indulgence, or materialism than they are by high vibe Virgo energy, which is about learning lessons in life, becoming more independent, knowing your worth and value, and shining your authentic light in the world, and freeing yourself from those things that manipulate you. And some of you have already detached from more mismatched relationships because you kind of were illuminated to the truth, how they wanted to keep moving forward in their Taurus and Virgo and Scorpio and fire sign energy, more motivated and inspired by themselves or the world. And you could have been someone that, I've kind of been there and done that. And my intuition, just like when I was 15 and 18 and 21 and 25, my intuition is telling me that the reason I might not be moving forward in life differently, things accumulate. We have all got fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs and kind of a lack mentality of believing in ourselves and believing in our dreams, that I might be more tempted to stay living my life a certain way because I have fear of believing in myself and believing in my dreams. And so then I stay in jobs, friendships, or relationships, or living my life in a way that is kind of the same old thing, and I'm kind of not taking the lessons that I've learned, and I'm not facing my fears, and I'm not putting in the work and effort to emotionally detach and work through, because Virgo energy is about getting to the truth of what manipulates me. And if I want to move forward in high vibe Leo energy, would be more being authentically myself, being free of these things that manipulate me, being in high vibe Scorpio, that I want to explore the mysteries of life. I want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. I want to be in more authentic, warm, loving, encouraging environments and relationships. And I am willing to detach from an old way of life because I feel like it keeps me stagnant and I can't really live my authentic life or shine my light, or my dreams aren't going to come into reality here. And if we realize that some of the people we're moving forward with, it's more mismatched, where they want to keep moving forward the way they view life, like giving up that dream of living your more authentic life, and you should keep staying at this job, this friendship and relationship, and we should keep moving forward like this. And it's like, but I think our dreams are different. I think what drives and motivates us is different. I think our philosophy of life is different. And then high vibe energy is about being a leader in the world. And going to speak my truth in love. But if people want to move forward with me, they have to free themselves from what manipulates them too. Because there's some people like, well, but I want to move forward with you. You look like you're moving forward. You're warm, you're loving, you're nurturing, or you look victorious and successful. I want to look like I'm that way. And I want to look like I've moved on. I want to look like I've changed and that I've detached from an old way of being or living life. But they really haven't. You have to do this work within yourself emotionally. You have to be willing to hold yourself accountable. But some people decide, no, I'm not willing to do that. But I have an idea. I'm just going to get out of this, kind of end something, but I'm going to be deceptive and manipulative. I'm going to try to move forward in a new job, new friendship, new relationship. In my ego, I might try to claim that I was left out in the cold, that maybe those other people were egotistical or prideful or manipulative or deceptive. But it's kind of like just trying to find someone else who will, it kind of could be like a social climber, right? Well, this seems like if I were to stay in this job or relationship, those people want me to put in this work and effort to authentically. That's high vibe Leo versus shadowy Leo, which is like our ego. I would really have to be inspired to change. I don't really want to change. But I do want to look like I've went to the next level of life. Like, again, I have learned and grown and matured myself. But it's like just trying to go get a new job, a new friend, or a new relationship. But it is operating more from ego. So if high vibe energy and high vibe Virgo is you're being truthful and authentic. And you are who you say you are. But shadowy people can try to present themselves as being that type of person. But it's all an illusion to try to manipulate people. And it could be trying to tempt people with, their looks, their charm, their money, their words, their education, their assets, their whatever they got, right? In order to be able to move forward and look like they've moved forward in life in some way. The only thing is, it's just like somebody lying on a resume saying, I do work well together with people and I do act with character and integrity and I am this just and fair or loving or whatever type of person. But then they go get in the next job and eventually other people are kind of like, yeah, I don't think we're going to move forward with you. Well, then they see that they have to go try to create an illusion with someone else about why that job or that friendship or relationship didn't work out. And that's a pattern that some people do. Will repeat certain patterns over and over and over. And some people's pattern is to keep trying to manipulate people, to make people think that they're more emotionally mature and stable and grounded and insightful and loving than they really are. And trying to confuse people about the truth, trying to get other people to quit listening to their intuition, to quit being inspired maybe more by their dreams and truth and love, and that those people would keep encouraging and motivating them. Have you ever worked at a job where everybody's like, oh my gosh, that person should be fired, but people don't want to fire that person for whatever reason, for whatever, maybe it would seem like it could be hard to find someone else, or there's already lack of enough people anyway. So they're kind of looking for people who will kind of keep indulging them in their more shadowy, egoic ways of being. Again, trying to manipulate people that you should let me keep moving forward in this job, this relationship with you. And some people, maybe because of their own lack of confidence within themselves, maybe a little bit in their ego, a little bit of fear if they were to let those people go, maybe afraid that things wouldn't move forward as victoriously. If it's a relationship, some people just don't want to become single from a relationship. And we can all have a hard time if we've gotten in certain things and then we find out, like, wait a minute, I could have left one job, friendship, or relationship to get in a new one. And I was hoping, and the impression people gave was that they were motivated to move forward with me also, that they had detached from things of the past and that they were ready to move forward inspired by truth and love. And then you kind of find out that's not the case, and then we can kind of feel stuck because, we want to put in work and effort to the things that we've already invested in. That's like that fixed sign energy of Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. I've already invested time, energy, and effort into this. I want this to work out the way I want it to work out. And we can keep putting work and effort to make something work out, which some people are doing right now. And it's just, how long are we going to keep putting in work and effort to try to make something work? And we can do it as long as we're not willing to want to see the truth, work through our own fears and insecurities about why we stay, to work through those things, to free ourselves from those things, to be more bold and brave and confident, and to move forward in life and detach from things that we need to detach from. So I think as some high vibe people have done this work within themselves, there's always going to be new people who want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship or a friendship with you, wondering if they can deceive and manipulate you, and they can be the next person that you will indulge in a relationship. And I think high vibe people are willing to work together with people cooperatively, but they have learned these lessons in life. They're not as naive and gullible as they were before. They are more confident and feel more stable and grounded within themselves and know their worth and value and what they bring to the table. That they're willing to communicate with people and talk with people to kind of get to know the truth about what drives and motivates them. And if there's some people in their life, whether it's the people from the past or new people that might come into your life, and if you get the impression that they aren't really being authentic, they might still be more motivated by themselves or the world or their ego or their image or their lust or their greed or money or materialism or status or image. I think emotionally, it's kind of like, I wish you peace, but I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm not going to take more inspired action like at work, because Taurus energy represents Hierophant energy, which is all these institutions of the world. I'm really not going to invest much more time, energy, or effort into some people in the workplace, in a social group, or getting in a more involved relationship with them if I think they're still more caught up in their ego, themselves, or the world. I'm going to work with the people who I think have learned some of the same lessons I've learned. High vibe Taurus, they do act with character and integrity. They do walk the talk. High vibe Leo, they're authentic, loving, encouraging, supportive. They've learned not to be more bossy, controlling, manipulative, deceptive, immature, and full of themselves. So, now, the difference between different people is that shadowy people, it's all about trying to create this illusion, operating from their ego. What some people don't know about you, because if that's how they live their life and they think everybody's kind of deceptive and manipulative, more about themselves, aren't really authentic, they could just think you are putting on a better show than they are. And it does seem like you've moved forward and that you're moving forward differently and inspired and authentic. And some of them don't understand it. Some of those people in the world will try to stop you from looking like a shining star, and negative energy exists in the world. At the big picture, in a world of duality, it's kind of like we refer to negative energy at the big picture as the devil, and high vibe energy at the big picture being like God, and God is about giving birth to new things. And the devil's about not wanting to give birth to new things, and we battle this within ourselves. Other people are battling it within themselves. And at the big picture in the world of duality, those energies are battling in the world, right? So there's always can be shadowy energy. Your own shadow nature wants you to be more immature. Your own shadow nature wants you to put an end to believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. Because it's like only one aspect of yourself can kind of be in the driver's seat of your life, and your shadow nature would like to be in the driver's seat. Let's not be more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and acting with character and integrity. Let's go back and do this, and let's do our comfort zone, and let's give up on that dream, and let's make our life about these things of the world. I'm sure it'll make us happy. And our more loving, encouraging nature, because our shadow nature is like our more emotionally immature nature, our loving nature has to be like, no, honey. It's kind of like putting our more immature nature in the back seat, and we're saying, honey, we've already been there. We've already done that. It didn't work out the way we wanted. And, we have to plant good seeds if we want to have an abundant, stable, grounded, balanced, loving life within ourselves. And we need to get in relationships with people who are on that same page. And we need to quit being in denial of the truth that if other people aren't on that same page and motivated and inspired by that, we're kind of going in different directions, and, we kind of have different end goals. And then it doesn't work because we don't have the same dream. Aries represents the Three of Wands. And then the Six of Wands would be 2 Three of Wands people moving forward victoriously, because the Two of Wands talks about a dream, and then the third wand is kind of like what motivates and inspires us. And both people have to be motivated and inspired to heal and grow and mature themselves and detach from an old foundation to really move forward in life, inspired by truth and love. And people who have a dream where it's more about the world and they're more inspired by that, people who are both in that energy, those people could move forward, because that is the truth of, they're willing to detach from relationships and things in the past to move forward together, because they do have the same dream and motivated by the same thing. But It's this idea that trying to build a foundation, a house divided can't stand. We have to be kind of on the same page, going in the same direction, motivated by the same truth and the same philosophy. So people that are in high vibe energy, the people in their life who, and they've kind of seen who kind of isn't on the same page as them and who is on the same page as them, they're moving forward with the people in their life that they feel walk the talk and are authentic and loving and warm and have learned some of the same lessons they've learned. People who are more worldly and shadowy focused have put an end to that dream in their free will. I could live my life like that, but I choose not to. I choose to be more about me or the world, and my dream is to keep moving forward, being more inspired by the world and money and materialism or me or indulgence. And I'm going to, if I have people in my life who are willing, are motivated and inspired by that, I'm going to move forward with them. And then it's the people that are kind of in some mismatched relationships right now that could be struggling because, again, if we're kind of driven and motivated by other things, we don't feel like we're in relationships with people who are on the same page as us. And both people might want to leave the relationship. Because it's not their dream. It's not what they really find emotionally fulfilling. And they've come to realize that if one person wants someone to be more motivated and inspired by love, they're just like, oh my God, would you please leave? And that can be why some people can do immature things in a relationship. Shadowy Scorpio, people can be deceptive. Shadowy Snake, they can be deceptive, controlling, abusive. And part of it can be because I want you to leave. We got to see the truth of that also. But if you're not willing to leave, well then do it the way I want and let me be intimidating and controlling and abusive and indulge me in my ego and keep feeling left out in the cold. Then I'll maybe keep staying in a relationship with you. But quit trying to get me to live life the way you want me to live life, because in my free will, that is not my truth. That is not what drives and motivates me. That is not my philosophy of life. And so the poverty card is kind of like the Five of Pentacles, which can be about change. We also need to be illuminated to the truth. We can offer love and encouragement to people and get in relationships with people, and it can take a long time. With the great fortune kind of being like, we could be in a job for a long time. It could be people that we grew up with in our family. It could be people that we've dated a long time. It could be people that we married. But there's a lot of things to navigate in a relationship and to figure out, kind of what our truth is, what our truth isn't, and to navigate a lot of those things until we finally get to the point where we kind of get a little bit more clear, kind of when push comes to shove, eventually in a relationship, is this my truth or isn't this my truth? Is this my dream or isn't it? And we could have gotten in relationships because we were attracted to people, we wanted to be married, we wanted to create a family, we wanted stability, we wanted security, we wanted that worldly dream, and maybe we weren't listening to our intuition. Maybe we hadn't learned to love and believe in ourselves. Maybe we weren't willing to live our more authentic life. And then as time goes by, it's kind of, shadowy, more worldly people didn't maybe want to see the truth that they are more materialistically self-motivated, didn't want to see the truth of it. But as they move forward in relationships, they kind of realize, I guess I don't want to do high vibe, so I guess I am kind of more about myself or the world, and they kind of end up being illuminated to the truth. Other people might have not felt very high vibe, and we've all been more immature, we've all been more codependent, but some other people during the course of friendships and relationships and jobs work through their issues, and then a surprise to them, wow, I'm kind of feel more stable and grounded and confident in myself than I have in a long time. And I feel like I've really worked through some things that used to manipulate me. And now, shockingly, I feel like I'm ready to move forward in life differently than I would have never dreamt of doing before. So the whole thing is, there kind of comes an end to us kind of being in denial of the truth of what really drives and motivates us. Because again, we come in contact with all these different people to help us get more clear about our truth. Now, some more worldly, shadowy people might not like that some more loving, bold, brave, more maybe less immature, less manipulated by the world, less manipulated by their fear or their ego, people are moving forward in life. Because you might kind of look like a shining star in a way. Like you're free. You know? You've moved on and you're moving forward in life differently. They could know and don't want people to be illuminated to the truth about the fact that they didn't move forward with you because they might have some issues to work through they don't want to see the truth of or deal with. You know, and we're all ready to deal with those things and shed light on those things and illuminate the truth and deal with the truth and be more comfortable with ourselves, be more bold and brave and confident within ourselves. And some people just aren't there, but instead of wishing other people peace, which some people do, it's like, hey, you know, I'm not ready to go do that, but you do you. You know, we can all have friends and family members where it's like, wow, I kind of wish I was more like that, but I'm not, but you go. And we don't wish people ill will. But there is other people who don't want people to know that they are more immature or more self-indulgent or more materialistic, and that some other people in their life kind of were illuminated to the truth of that, and they weren't willing to keep moving forward with them in a relationship that they could have felt was more emotionally shallow and superficial. They, in a way, might have liked to move forward in it. It was good for their ego and their image. But they just were unwilling to work through these issues that stop them from moving forward in life differently, authentically. You have to do that inner work because the truth sets you free. And that's when some people are like, I would like it maybe to work for these worldly reasons, but if it's not going to work, I'm going to try to confuse people about the truth. I don't want them to view the high vibe people as high vibe. I might lie about them. I might, you know, basically trying to confuse people about the truth about the high vibe people, because mainly what they have going for them is maybe their status or their image or their looks or their charm or their social clout or their money or something. Because they've kind of seen the truth and other people have seen the truth that they might be a little more emotionally shallow, not very authentic and warm and loving. So the big thing they have to use to their advantage is these things of the world. And then that's what they try to tempt people with, to get those people to move forward with them in a relationship. Hope they will eat of the poisoned apple and that they will move forward with them in a victory. And then it makes them look again like they've moved on, that they're victorious and successful. But the shadowy people are hiding that they don't really harness this energy in a high vibe way, and they harness it in a more shadowy way. So let's go look. And they've probably already had high vibe people in their life who have already moved on from them, but they don't want them to know that those were high vibe people that they basically didn't move forward with because of their fear, their insecurity, or their lack mentality, or their worldly competitive nature. And they wanted to make their life more about these things of the world. So we have fulfillment, woman, ship, sudden wealth, and the tunnel. So the tunnel kind of reminds me of Virgo energy also. This card says Capricorn. Capricorn is earth sign energy, and it can talk about all these things of the world that we want. Shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the devil. The shadowy people don't want people to know that they even could have been emotionally fulfilled in a relationship that they had moved forward with in the past. But those people did invest the time, energy, and effort. We have to free ourselves from our shadowy Capricorn energy, right? Of codependency, fear, lust, greed. And the high vibe people did the work to, it's kind of like giving birth to something new. And it's a painful process. And so then this kind of is reminding me of a birth canal. To give birth to something new emotionally, even that's hard. Because you have to look at these things that manipulate you. You have to work through it. Quit playing the victim. Oh, poor, poor, pitiful me. And all these people who are unjust or unfair or unloving. And it's like, I am going to learn to love myself. And, I can go look to other people in the world to love me. But if I don't love me, I'm not in the right energy. So I need to do this work within myself to be like my own best mother, father, coach voice in my head. And some other people were hiding that they're more motivated by the world and ego. And they didn't want to do that work. And so they rejected the high vibe people because those people did want them to do that work within themselves. And they have the free will not to. But they should be honest about it. Why not just tell people that, they kind of, I don't know, look at life differently, kind of more inspired to, I kind of like living my life the way I like to live it. It could be big town, small town, in country, out of country, this state versus another state. We all like to stay, we're all looking for people, again, who are we kind of want to give birth to the same things that we find enjoyable and victorious and successful. And some people would benefit by just being authentic about why. But some people were deceptive and manipulative. Some people wanted people who were in their life who were loving and encouraging and supportive, but they could have been kind of bossy and controlling and manipulative to make those people not believe in their dreams, feel left out in the cold, or not believe in themselves, so they would kind of keep indulging some of these people in their ego. And that can be why some of those people, because that is the truth. And so, instead they could play kind of the victim, but as they're trying to move forward, hiding the truth and hiding that they're more worldly focused or ego focused and try to manipulate people, they could think that you're doing the same thing. But what they don't realize about you is you did this work within yourself. Were we all more immature at times, more codependent at times, more about being in a relationship or codependency and caught up in the illusion of the world? Yeah. But the high vibe people realized how that was manipulating them. And that because of that, people were able to manipulate and control them and use those things against them in a relationship. And they didn't like that. I don't like people trying to deceive and manipulate me. And I need to deal with the things within me that can make me be in that energy, because if I'm in that energy, I'm probably not in relationships with people who are more authentic and warm and loving and encouraging. And why am I not in relationships with people like that? And if I want to be in relationships with people like that, I need to do this work within myself. And I need to quit maybe taking action more, kind of indulging myself in poor behavior, indulging other people in poor behavior. The only person I can change is me. And so what they don't know is that you did do this work within yourself, and you are inspired to do this inner work to work through, because Virgo energy looks through those things that we kind of like to keep hidden in the dark, or we didn't even know was kind of buried in our subconscious. And that can be our lack mentality. It can be our past pain and heartbreak. If we're more immature, we got to mature ourselves. You know, if we have to learn to love ourselves, we got to learn to love ourselves. And it all takes work and effort to free ourselves from our more worldly, egoic lack mentality and free ourselves. And what some people don't know is you could have had a dream of moving forward with some people, but if those people aren't coming towards you to invest and communicate with you, to move forward with you and bringing it into reality, then you do this work within yourself to free yourself emotionally. I'm not going to live in illusion. I'm not going to stay up in my head. I am going in high vibe Leo and Virgo to deal with the truth of the situation. If people were motivated and inspired to move forward with me in this way, they would. And if they're not, I'm not going to stay stuck, and my dream isn't codependent on a certain person being in my life. My dreams are codependent on being in relationships with people who are in that same energy, and they're not. And I've been illuminated to the truth of that. So I've emotionally detached from that dream, no longer eating that poisoned apple. And I'm giving myself the things that I wish other people would have given me. And I'm willing, high vibe Sagittarius and high vibe Aries, I'm bold and brave enough to go on this new adventure. I believe the divine has a plan for my life. And I have to see the truth that when things aren't working out in a just and fair and authentic and loving and encouraging thing, I have the free will to keep staying in it. I have the free will to keep feeling left out in the cold. Or I love myself and I align with loving energy and I get out of my ego and I say, okay, let's move forward and see what you have planned for me, because I've seen this isn't working. So, what is coming up? You and the people in your life, whether you're in relationships or not in romantic relationships, what's coming up for the high vibe people who are inspired to not repeat an old pattern, not stay stuck, not stay up in their head, to get out of their ego and their fear and their codependency and trust that the divine has a plan for their life? The Two of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Death card. So, again, the Death card can talk about that we could have detached from something and moved away from something. But Scorpio energy talks about the deep emotional connections we have with people, and that we're these emotionally complex human beings. We can think completely contradictory thoughts about the same person. I love them, I hate them. I hope they never call me, I hope they call me tomorrow. I love them, they're manipulative. I love them, they're bossy. I love them, they're egotistical and self-centered. But the whole thing is, we can love people. High vibe energy is about, I wish people peace and love, but I deal with the truth. And if people are being immature, unjust, unfair, bossy, manipulative, caught up in their own issues that make them not able to move forward with me in this way, I wish them peace. Because love is the answer. The truth sets us free. I can stay in the energy of love and have not want to be in relationships with people. Certain people in my life. Until they have done this work within themselves and illuminate the truth and have detached from some old ways of being, then I wish you peace and love. And we have to do that work emotionally to, it's one thing to distance ourselves from people and move away from people. It's another thing to emotionally detach. And we have to do, that takes work. And that's what some people don't know, is that you have been doing this work to give birth to a new you. Like my nesting dolls. After you were done being 15, you shed an old layer of yourself and you were more like an 18-year-old. And when you got closer to 21, you shed that layer of yourself and detached from old ways of being and thinking and viewing life to give birth to a new you. And you're giving birth to a new you, death and rebirth. And that enables you to pick up your investment in that old dream. Out here we have the two ships out on the emotional realm, which is like our imaginative realm. You've picked up your investment in that old dream to be balanced within yourself. And that was kind of like step 1. And then to go to number 5, which is moving forward in life, is the 3 of Pentacles. When we emotionally detach from our more worldly nature to whatever degree that could have kept us operating in that 3 of Pentacles foundation, we're willing to take back that 3 of Pentacles from working together in that way or with those people or in that viewpoint, because we're not the same person we were before. We've transformed our life. We don't think the same way we used to think. We did learn these lessons in life. There's ways of living life and viewing ourselves and viewing the world, and we view life differently. We're less inspired by our more immature, egoic nature. We have freed ourselves from a layer of our more immature nature to give birth to a new us. And you're moving forward in life, transformed. The other people can try to create the illusion they're doing that, but only the truth sets you free. You can look like I got a new job, I got in a new relationship, and you can go get a new job, and you can go get a new relationship. But if you're the exact same person you were in the last one, well, then they haven't changed. They might be trying to social climb for some of them, get a better job, but they're the same person they were at the last job. And eventually other people are going to see through the illusion. And then some of those people aren't going to want to work with them anymore. Yeah, they'll wish them peace, but I'm going to become independent of you too, or I'm going to fire your ass. What's coming up for some people who are in a more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy that they don't see coming? The Emperor, Judgment, Hierophant. Why? Because of the 3 of Cups and the King of Swords. Well, the shadowy people keep thinking they're the boss. Like I can control things. That would be shadowy Taurus, shadowy Libra, shadowy Aries, shadowy Cancer energy. Not taking that cup of higher love. High vibe Taurus is aligned with truth and love. And they've called judgment on love. That's not my truth. And some people are just going to play it safe. I want to live more from my mind than my heart. I try to control things in a relationship. Or I don't want to get in a more formal commitment. I don't want to have to walk the talk. I think there's other people that would be willing to get in a relationship with me because they haven't learned to love themselves. And they want justice in the world. And if I look like a boss in the world in some way, like I have justice, or I have status or image or social clout, or I'm attractive, or I got a certain amount of money, I think they're hoping that other people will view them as kind of looking like they have these things of the world that people want. And that for people where a different relationship didn't work out the way they wanted, that instead of maintaining balance within themselves and standing up for themselves and what they believe in, that some of these people will decide to get in a relationship with these people that are... And the masculine energies, doesn't have to be men, it can talk about anybody who operates more from their worldly egoic nature. Because the feminine figures talk about how people really think and feel. And in shadow, these people emotionally don't take that cup of higher love. They use their emotions more manipulatively in a relationship. Their charm, their sexuality, their words, their intellect, their status, their image. They use all of those things to try to tempt people in the world to move forward with them, to bring a dream into reality so they look victorious and successful like they've moved on. But they're being deceptive and manipulative because they're probably not being truthful that it's not love and truth and justice and fairness in a relationship that drives and motivates them. It's more about them and their ego and their image. And when people are acting like this in the world, they're always going to have some high vibe people in their life who harness these energies in a high vibe way, who have been offering them love to try to inspire them to work through. I kind of view the King of Swords as a person's like self-protective nature, or stubborn nature, or bossy or controlling, or I've got to live more from my mind than my heart, or I could get hurt. And they've been trying to offer them love and encouragement. You know, it's like, I don't know who hurt you or who did what, but I'm trying to offer you truth and love. And eventually the high vibe people in their life see the truth. And they realize I have to call judgment on these people because they're just not willing to take that cup of love and be more just and fair and act with character and integrity in a relationship. So I've got to offer that cup of love to myself. The only person I can change is me, and I'm going to take that cup of love to get the justice I deserve. And to go offer love to people in the world who I think are more on the same page as me. And let these people get in a relationship with someone who's more like them. Quit trying to change people. See the truth. So they're going to have high vibe people in their life who aren't going to keep investing in them. Because the other people are more inspired by love, and they're more inspired to live more from their mind than their heart and their worldly nature. So high vibe people are going to leave their life, call judgment on them. But there'll always be other people who are willing to get in a relationship with them. Well, this looks just and fair, or I'm attracted to you, or you're charming, or you're attractive, or you got money, image, status. You have all these things that we're looking for in people. And I'll offer you a cup of love. And then those people will have to decide for themselves if this is their truth or if it's not. And if it's not, those people will move on. And if someone does stay in a relationship with them, it might be other people who don't want to do love, who like to live more from their mind than their heart. And hey, if I'm in a relationship with you, it kind of looks like, in a way, by worldly standards, I look like I got it going on. And that's fine. It's just, if that is what they view as victorious and successful, and what inspires them and how they want to move forward, and that aligns with their truth and their philosophy of life, well, then that is a just and fair relationship. It's just that other people that were in relationships with those people found it emotionally shallow, superficial, deceptive, manipulative, and they didn't want to live their life that way. And they were willing to move forward in life and to go work things out with other people who detach from people and living their life like this. And those people are going to move forward in more inspired, authentic relationships because they weren't. The Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles, which is this way in a more shadowy Capricorn energy where you either want to stay in your comfort zone or you have this way of living life and viewing life. And if you're happy there, fine. But other people weren't happy there. You know, it felt like it might have all these things that by worldly standards people would wonder, why didn't I stay? And it's like, because I felt like it was more driven by ego or fear or codependency than truth and love or being authentic or being encouraging where I could grow to my full potential and live my more authentic life. And some people are happy making their life more about conforming to the world and getting more caught up in the worldly dream. And it's like, well, then enjoy your life, which I probably will. And other people are like, I can't live my life like that. You do you, I'll do me. And I think as high vibe people are moving forward in this way, and other people see that you're not taking action more out of pride or ego or immaturity or lust or greed or ego or image, for the people, they know too, I could go get in a relationship with someone who's more like that. But then I know I'm not kind of being authentic or more bold and brave and confident, and I can get in a relationship that's more emotionally shallow and superficial. And I guess for the people where it drives and motivates them to pick up their investment in those ways of being and move forward in life with you, they will. And the people who aren't interested won't. And the people that are in your life willing to be more just and fair and balanced than trying to shadowy energy of trying to manipulate you or control you, those are people you're going to move forward with. And I think as you move forward, you'll keep offering love and truth and encouragement to people. And then those people have to decide, am I willing to move forward in that way or not? And people will have their free will. Some people will align with the people that are more about the world, and some people will align with the people who inspire them to love and believe in themselves and believe in their dreams of more than just about these things of the world. So there you go, Virgo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.